We're live today at the Electric Co-ops in Richmond for a Republican Roundtable. Joining us, Chris Saxman, former House of Delegates member, former chairman of the John McCain for President failed campaign in 2008, got hammered there.
Got the silver.
I didn't get the gold either, so that's what we have in common. Losers bonding together, Saxman and I. Also, Andrew Vehorn is with us. He's the spokesperson and chief of legislative affairs for the Electric Co-ops of Virginia. Did I get that right?
You did. Good morning,
Andrew,
John.
Good. We got our issues, it seems, fixed now. Also with us, Aaron Goldbranson, longtime Republican consultant and Republican operative, and also the author of
Smoke-Filled Rooms,
which you can get on
Amazon.com.
Quick text here from Milton in Newport News, who was like the conscience of the John Fredericks Radio Network. He's the conscience. Cruise guy, came around for Trump. But his text, you hear what they say. He says, anyway, Johnny says, I know you love the governor, but he's nothing but a scheming politician. He just lied to your audience saying he's not thinking about the presidency, could have said nothing, but instead he decided to lie. Milton at Newport News. Now, McAuliffe is running for president. So what he could have said is, I'll let that decision come. Look, Milton, I think was being like, hey, well, I'm not running for president right now. I think that's what he meant. But he is running for president. And here's the thing with him. And I'm going to be very frank, and I told this to the president. If somehow he got the nomination, which I don't think he could do, I told Mr. President Trump now that he would be the most formidable candidate he could face in 2020 because he would go right into those blue states and he'd go after those blue-collar workers, and he's got a jobs message. But I don't think a jobs, moderate, pro-business guy can ever win anything in the Democratic Party again the way it's going now. Let's start with Andrew.
I think you're right, John. They're not interested in nominating a middle-of-the-road moderate Democrat. I don't see either party moderating their base right now. Everything's being pushed to the extremes, and there's no way McAuliffe can actually get that nomination against somebody like Elizabeth Warren, or Bernie's probably not going to run again, but that wing of the party has taken over. It's what the Tea Party is on our side. And there was no way a Jeb Bush was going to win this election. Donald Trump or not, Jeb Bush was not going to be your guy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I would be a little hesitant to make that declaration, as their party is, the Democratic Party is in the midst of its own internal conversation. I don't think it's necessarily a civil war. It's probably an uncivil war, uncivil discussion that's going on right now. But they're in the throes of a massive defeat, and how that comes out and how they want to go forward is their discussion to have. I understand the thinking and the logic behind saying that that's just not there, but there's nothing worse for a political party than losing. It'll help them focus. It'll help them get back to where they want to be. But let's not forget that how slim the margin of victory was in the Electoral College. The Democrats did win by 3 million votes in the popular vote. So I think.
So bottom line is, you're saying
I'm not there yet.
McAuliffe could get the nomination.
Sure, anyone could.
I think he could also.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders almost got the nomination.
Right.
I mean,
you never know what's going to happen.
Right. Who knew? No one saw that.
With me, Saxman, that McAuliffe would be the toughest. Let's take
this
Trump.
year in 2017, if they had a nomination, no, he's not going to be the nominee.
2021,
2020, never know.
Well, wouldn't he be the toughest candidate for Trump of all the Democrats you look at? Maybe Warner, McAuliffe would be the two toughest.
No,
you don't. Who do you think would be the toughest?
Kamala Harris out of California, Cory Booker would probably be better.
Left wing whack jobs.
No. That's no. They would solve the turnout problem that Hillary Clinton had in Milwaukee and Detroit and Philadelphia.
That's true.
So African American on the ticket solves the turnout problem. So
it doesn't solve the problem. It ameliorates it. It mitigates it, and especially if it's at the top of the ticket. I don't know if that translates down ticket as much as it does at the top of the ticket.
All right, let's get to Aaron. Aaron, what do you think of this?
Well, you look at the national climate right now, the Democrats are completely operating out of emotion, and their emotion is forcing them to go to their baser instincts, which is far extreme left liberalism. And these Democrats are doing nothing to decry, some riots going on on the colleges, and it's crazy. I don't think Terry would have a chance in this environment. The question is, I do believe the Democrats are going to continue operating out of emotion simply because their opponent is President Trump. If there's an irregular midterms and the Democrats get shellacked with this strategy and Republicans still control the House and the Senate after the midterm, then maybe the Democrat leadership might wisen up and go, okay, we don't need an Elizabeth Warren, we don't need a Bernie Sanders, we need a moderate jobs guy to take on the president. Now, the one thing that nobody said yet is whenever you see Terry McAuliffe's name, you're always going to see the Clintons' name. So
well, that would actually hurt him, wouldn't it?
Yes, that would definitely actually hurt him.
All right, let's move on. Let's just take a quick poll here. Do you think McAuliffe would be the toughest candidate for Trump to beat 2020? Yes or no? I say yes. Andrew?
Yes.
No.
No? Saxman?
No,
Aaron?
but he's better than Elizabeth Warren.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so before you came, Chris, we were talking about the lawsuit. There's no lawsuit. This whole Vogel nonsense that's going on with Reeves. You served with Bryce Reeves, and you were telling me off air. Right now, a couple weeks ago, right, you said all a candidate should be doing is contacting voters.
That's it.
Why are they doing this? Why is Reeves doing this?
I think he's trying to prove a point. It's probably personal. And I don't think it solves the political end as it does the personal. And that's just sometimes the decisions you make in a campaign. Whether he's still contacting voters and doing the other things that any successful campaign has to do to get his voters out and get his message out is a different matter. Unfortunately, the timing's difficult because it's going to go right before the primary. And even if it does happen, what is the 9th that's a Friday.
Next Friday.
Next Friday. No, week after Friday. So even if there's any impact over the weekend, what does it do for the primary voter going, no one will find out about it? No one will know about it. I mean, I'm going to be in Louisiana. I might have a life to live, right? So all the other voters, in order for this information to have an impact on the election, it's just not. There's no time for it to be absorbed and to make the decision at the polls.
And we were saying this is the first week that kids are going to be out of school. Your college kids are home.
Paying attention.
Nobody's paying attention to something that goes on in a courtroom in Fauquier County for a lieutenant governor's race on the Republican primary. Nobody's paying attention to the governor's race. Certainly not paying attention.
What'll make more news is when the judge quashes the subpoenas.
And there's just not enough time for the blogs, for the pundits to pick out the key juicy details of the transcripts of whatever this hearing puts out to have any impact on the following Tuesday. And
with all due respect to the blogs, it's not like that they're going to have an impact on the primary.
That's it. There's just this bubble of people who care about this.
Yeah. No impact. I mean, just no impact. I mean, there was a piece up on the Bull Elephant yesterday attacking one of the candidates about where he lives. I just saw it, hit piece. Maybe it's valid, maybe it's not. I don't know. Who cares? I just don't think they have. I think that's an echo chamber of a couple hundred people, and it has really no impact on anything.
Well, what Andrew said was pretty spot on. It matters if it's a convention. This isn't a convention.
Right. It matters in a convention.
Sure.
Yeah. Then it would matter because you got to,
because you have a tiny
little pool of people solving that. Okay, let's get some of these down ballot races. Might be a little bit interesting. Let's start with, we can make some predictions, kind of where we think the race is at right now. Let's start with the Republican primary in the Suffolk Isle of Wight seat, the seat of the retiring Rick Morris. 2 Republicans in that race. This is a Republican seat, so whoever gets the nomination is going to win. They're going to get elected in the fall. Emily Brewer, longtime Republican activist, running a very spirited campaign against now what it seems to be kind of the establishment choice. Rex Alphen, former Isle of Wight supervisor, a never Trumper, got the backing of Barry Knight, who's very powerful. You would look on paper, right? Alphen got a base, elected official. Isle of Wight represents about, 38% of the district. Got the money. She's going to get outspent 10-1. On paper, you would think Alphen, pretty heavy favorite. How do you see this race, Andrew?
I think Emily is a come-from-behind candidate. I think she's working on the ground. From what I hear from people down there, it's traditionally thought that Isle of Wight is the center of that district, but recent years, Prince George has really grown, and I think Prince George actually has now more people in that district than Isle of Wight does. And I know Emily has been pounding the doors down there. She's doing direct mail. She's got a little bit of money, but I think she's waiting to spend it smartly. Alphen did direct mail 3 or 4 months ago, and that's kind of a waste. Why would you scream it in a hurricane? So I give it to Emily. I think she's running a smart campaign. She's got some good professionals behind her, and they're being very strategic in what she's doing.
So you like Emily in the upset?
Yes.
All right. Saxman?
Only based on Andrew's in-depth knowledge of this primary would I suggest anything different. But I think it's a toss up right now. It's who's closing it out, who's knocking on doors, who's contacting voters, like we discussed in the LG race. I mean, at the end of the day, people talk, oh, I knocked on all these doors, oh, I sent all these mail pieces out there, but are you really doing it? You have to really do it. You have to really put in the legwork.
When you say really do it, like
you have to go knock on the doors and talk to the people, listen to them, and get them to show up on the appointed time and the appointed day. That's it.
Do you do it right? Do you know why you're doing it?
Exactly.
You knock on the doors.
Are you connecting
to find out if somebody's going to vote, so you can then contact them again, turn them out for election day. If you're not doing all of that, then it's just a wasted effort. You're going through them. It's kind of you go through the motions of doing it, but you don't really understand why, and it's not going to be successful.
Yeah, and if you're knocking on doors and all you're doing is leaving a lit piece at a mailbox, which
worthless.
You shouldn't do.
That's a lit drop.
It's illegal.
That's a lit drop.
But there are a lot of campaigns that say they're door knocking.
Well, they say they're door knocking,
and
and then they're going to get doing lit drops.
Yeah.
Big difference.
And I don't think
I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
And people inflate those numbers so bad. We've knocked on 7,000 doors.
Nonsense.
I've knocked on 10,000 doors in the campaign. You can't be there right now.
Right.
At this stage of the campaign. I mean, there's just an impossibility factor on effective engagement with a voter to get them to come out and
plus, if you knock on every 10 doors, you knock on one person answers, right? I mean, is that about
if
the average?
they're there. It's
10% of the doors you knock on.
How many voters have you contacted? How many voters have you looked in the eyes, listened to?
One-on-one.
It takes
Not
time.
Put a piece of literature on their door.
Or knock on the door and say, hi, I'm Emily Brewer or Rex Alpha, and I'm running.
But somebody has got to answer the door.
You have to engage with them. It's how many effective engagements have you had?
All right, so let's go to this. So Saxman,
pick him. It's a pick.
Who's going to pick him?
I don't care.
Saxman's got to pick.
It's whatever.
Aaron?
I think Emily's got the ground game. I think she's going to win. I think Andrew's right. She's holding her money. And let's face it, she's running against a never-Trumper who's never met a tax increase he didn't love.
Yeah, John, here's how you break down that district, and I think what you need to look for on Election Day is if Emily comes close or breaks even in Isle of Wight County, she's going to win because she's going to win other localities, and Isle of Wight is Rex's base. So if she can come close or break even there, I think it's going to be an Emily Brewer night.
And I've seen things that Rex is doing now. I mean, he's taking he's spending a lot of time getting letters to the editor in a campaign. And to this day and age, that's
snooze
his
fest. Snooze fest. I mean, first of all,
hit the doors, make the calls, do the mail.
Yeah.
And if and the one thing I want to ask Andrew, he sent one mail piece out 4 months ago.
No, I think he did several mail pieces.
But 4 months ago, and then he stopped.
Yeah. Yes.
See, okay, that is just pissing your money away because if you stop doing it, then it's as if they never heard from you. Once you start doing anything, radio, TV,
robocall.
mail, robocall. You got to keep doing it till the end.
Right.
Otherwise, because you're building it to a crescendo.
Otherwise, it's like what happened.
Yeah, so that's good. He wasted his money. Congratulations, Rex Alpha.
Direct mail is generally a waste of money.
All right, so wait, hold that thought. That direct mail is a waste of money. Let's get through this race, but hold that, Saxman. I got a couple things to talk about. The statement you made yesterday about Corey Stewart blew up on my Twitter. We'll talk about that. So Andrew's got Emily winning this race.
Yes.
Saxman says pick him. He doesn't want to make a bet. Aaron?
Oh, Emily.
All right. Emily's going to get outspent 10-1. She has very little money, and as far as holding it to the end, there's not a lot to hold. Okay? On paper, Alvin's the favorite. No question. If I was making odds on that race, I'd put him in under even money, probably 4-5. He's got Barry Knight's backing. That means
who doesn't represent that district.
He doesn't represent the district, but he's big with the farmers, right?
Why is Barry backing him, by the way?
Goes back in the family. Plus, he's a farmer. Plus, his father helped Barry out when he needed something.
Relationships,
and I don't begrudge Barry that.
No.
On paper, Alvin should win this race. I'm going to tell you right now, Emily Brewer is going to pull the upset. This is my upset pick special because she's going to get outspent. She's got very little money. She's not raising it. But she is talking to people. And Alvin's not. Alvin's sending out mailers, and he's going to do whatever they do. Stealth candidate. Nobody's ever seen the guy. Tax raiser. Emily's out there knocking on doors. She's talking to people every day. She's doing it the old-fashioned way.
And it's a rural district, John. That
she's
goes
got
a lot
it,
further.
like Aaron said. She's got a ground game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you also have the generational differences, age, and people like in these kind of races someone new, someone fresh, especially that district which has had its own difficulties, and a female candidate can pull voters and be a differentiator in those kind of elections.
Yeah, Emily is going to come from behind to win this race. That's going to be the shocker, I think, on election night. And what also helps her is, like you said, she's a millennial. You're looking for some new blood. Now, he's going to get his base. I mean, he's got the gray hair thing going.
Well, John, I think what you just said is an important point. You saw this start out in Southwest Virginia 5 or 6 years ago with Will Moorfield. People in these rural areas that have seen their economy dwindle are looking to a new generation of people to step up. And I think even your older folks who would traditionally be a Rex Alphen base see a young person who is accomplished, who's a business owner, who's coming to them and talking about ideas about bringing jobs back, enabling their grandkids to stay home. They get excited about that, and they're ready to pass the torch in hopes that a new generation can do something. And I think you see that kind of excitement there as well.
All right, so we got 3 out of 4 of us predicting Emily Brewer with the big upset. And we've got Chris Saxman saying that he doesn't know it's a pick 'em, but that's good. If Emily's the underdog and Saxman's saying it's even, that's good for Emily because it means she's coming from behind. How's that?
Well, no, look, I mean, I don't have a base of knowledge that you have on the election. And so objectively speaking, coming in, if he has an advantage on money and he has an advantage on name ID and he's got some powerful backers down there, that's important. And it tells me that there's something more than just a guy who's been on the supervisors running for House of Delegates.
Well, the other thing you got to remember with this governor's race is not going to generate the turnout it was thought maybe in January. It's not as competitive as we were thinking it might be. And so Alphen's base of support is a group of people that don't generally vote in Republican primaries. Emily's got the local Republican support. They're knocking doors for her. They're hitting the primary voters. She has even though she has less money, she has an easier in with the more high propensity voters than Alphen does.
She does, and I think she's going to be able to match a mail piece for mail piece from here on out. We've only got 2 or 3 weeks, so there's only so much money you can spend. Emily's got the endorsement of Frank Ruff, which overlaps at the northern end of the district, and Prince George, which is now the highest populated county in that district. She also has the endorsement of John Cosgrove in the southern end of the district, that she'll be able to push mailers out from them to let folks who to try to reach that density, to reach that breakthrough of people who might not have met either candidate. They'll be able to see that and give them some reassurances.
Yeah, and the other thing that's interesting is Roxanne Gilmore, Governor Gilmore's wife, the former First Lady, her family is from that district. Governor Gilmore's endorsed her. The family's helping out down there, so they've got deep ties down there too, helping Emily.
She's an exciting candidate. The other guy's super snooze fest, Isle of Wight supervisor, 60 years old, been there, done that, never Trumper, voted for every tax increase ever. When I was the editorial page editor for the Daily Press on the Peninsula, I did not endorse him for supervisor. I don't know why. It's too long ago, but I didn't. So there had to be something there, probably because he was in favor of expanding government. But this is the upset. I think Emily wins this race.